Hello everyone, today I have an absolutely fascinating product here with me. Right here on the cabinet here is an Austrian audio OC818. So the OC818 is an Austrian made large diaphragm, high sensitivity, low self noise condenser microphone. The capsules are ceramic and handmade in Vienna at such precision that you can actually buy any other OC818 and turn it into a matched pair. Or you could get it with the OC18, which is the younger sibling of the OC818, and you can use it as a matched pair in cardioid mode. More info on that later on. But looking at the OC818, on the surface, it looks really simple. You have pads, you have your high-pass filters, analog high-pass filters and pads on the and you have a switch to change the polar patterns on the front. But what makes this microphone extra unique is you can actually attach a Bluetooth dongle on the mic right now, which I have inserted, which is being powered with the phantom power as well. And on my phone right here on top of the amp, I have an app open in order to control the polar patterns, the pads and the high-pass filters in real time with my phone. So this is especially useful when you are in the studio and the cabinet is completely isolated, or the singer or whatever you're recording is in a separate room, and you in the console, you want to check out what different polar patterns will do in that particular situation, or if you need to activate the pad or the high-pass filters, you can do it in real time via your phone. So that is one of the unique features of this mic, which we'll demo in a bit. And later on, instead of using the Bluetooth dongle, you can actually attach a secondary cable. So what that does is it also records the back of the capsule. So you will take two lines into your interface, and that will allow you to tweak the polar patterns after recording. Yes, you heard that right, after recording. So once you record two lines, you can open up their Polar Designer plugin, and you can modify the polar patterns across 5 different frequency bands in the software. So that is especially useful when you're going to record someone and you don't have time to kind of figure out what I want to do with the polar patterns. Do I want to pick up just the front, or do I want a cardioid, super cardioid? Do I want a figure 8? Do I want to capture the entire room? If you don't have a clue and you don't have time to kind of search for the tone, you can just record 2 lines and modify that later on in the plugin. So for starters, let's show you what the app can do via your mobile phone. So currently I have it in a cardioid position, and the pads and the high-pass filters are not activated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demo the pads, the high-pass filters, and let's fool around with the polar patterns and hear if that makes a difference in this room. So I have this guitar, Kiesel Zeus, going into my Hughes and Kettner Tubemeister Deluxe 20. The cabinet is an orange PPC 2x12, and the OC818 is on the speaker on the top. So let's pick up with the distorted tones you heard earlier. So if you find this source too loud, you can just instantly hit the pad on the mobile phone. You will see a little buffering circle over there. Once that is done, it is communicated to the mic to activate the pad. And if that is too loud, you can go to negative 20 dB. So now let's turn that off, and we're going to fool around with the high pass filters. And all the way. Next, let's fool around with the polar patterns here. So again, just a reference with the cardioid shape. Now maybe I wanted to make it, like a super cardioid. So let's kind of sneak that in, just a bit of the back of the mic. Maybe more of a hypercardioid. It's buffering, and it's done. Of course, you can do a figure 8. You can put the buffering on my head at this point. It's still buffering. Okay, it's done. And of course, you can record all around the mic as well. Let it buffer for a bit, and once it's communicated with the mic to change its pattern, it should be done any second now. Finally. Okay. I'm going to clean up the tone, just so you can hear, with a cleaner tone. I'm going to go back to a sort of cardioid pattern. Let it buffer for a bit. Buffering. It's communicating with the mic. It's done. So that was the microphone using the Bluetooth dongle and controlling it via your mobile phone. And now we're going to move and show you how the Polar Designer plugin works via your DAW. Alright everyone, so now we're going to check out the Polar Designer plugin in the DAW. So with the OC818, if you do not want to use the Bluetooth dongle to tweak things on the fly with your phone, you can remove that dongle, and instead you got to plug in the secondary cable to the back of the mic, and you take out a couple of lines into your interface and make sure it's set to capture both the capsules front and back, and you can easily tweak your polar patterns in the DAW. So what I have here in front of me on Cubase here, I've recorded there's 4 tracks here, so I recorded 2 lines, and then what I did was duplicated the tracks left and right, and there's a bit of a stereo enhancer on one side to give you a bit more of a stereo image. So what's cool about this Polar Designer here, as you can see, you can modify the polar pattern behavior across 5 different bands If you don't want to do 5, you can easily come down here, select 4 or 3, 2, 1, etc. You got different equalization controls, a proximity control, a terminator control. So this is a bit cool in the sense that with the terminator spill, so if there's a particular section of the recording where you feel is a bit annoying in terms of frequency or a bit of noise, you can solo and loop that part, allow the plugin to listen to it and terminate that spill, or you can actually maximize that particular frequency, either or. And what's cool about modifying the polar patterns here is you can actually solo or mute each of the individual bands, so you can actually hear what you are affecting. You can adjust how much of it you want, and you can even mute it to hear if it makes a difference or not. Next thing, since I have 4 tracks here, I have the Polar Designer. I just placed it on all 4 tracks, and you can actually sync the Polar Designer to multiple tracks up to 4, and if you affect one of it on one track, it's going to affect the rest of it. So we're going to just quickly listen to an acoustic guitar part which I recorded, and I'm going to turn off the plugin first, and you'll hear this single part with no effect apart from the stereo enhancer on one side of the track. So here we go. So that was without, and this is me after tweaking the polar behavior with the Polar Designer. So you can even tweak, whatever to your heart's content right here. So you can change, as you can see, I'm affecting different bands with different polar patterns here. And if, for instance, I wanted to increase this one, change the polar pattern to maybe like a figure 8, maybe affect the decibels a bit higher so we can hear the difference. Let's hear that again. So there you go, that's the cool part about the plugin, allowing you to tweak things on the fly, making things work easily for you in the studio without the hassle of having to think, you know, which polar pattern do I want to use, which will be the right one, where you can just easily take 2 lines out of the microphone and tweak it in post. And finally, let's hear the track with a bit of reverb here. So there you go, that was the Austrian Audio OC818. Extremely unique, being able to tweak things on the fly or in your DAW even after recording. Highly versatile, and it comes in this really beautiful carry case here, this hard case. And what you get is, of course, the microphone. You have your documentation. You have your pop filter if you require one. You have the standard shock mount that you see is being currently used on the cabinet. It also has a standard mount. You can use it for different situations if you don't need the full shock mount. Of course, with the 818, you have the secondary cable and stickers and all of the other sort. So the Bluetooth dongle is sold separately. It does not come together with the microphone. And of course, if you don't want all the fancy things that you can do with the OC818, if you don't require being able to tweak the polar patterns on the fly or in the DAW, you can get the more basic OC18, which only has the analog pads and high-pass filters. So with that, let us know what you think about the tones achieved here today. Give us a thumbs up, enjoy the video, subscribe for more content, and see you real soon. And as a closer, we're going to let you hear something that I quickly recorded with an acoustic guitar and my vocals.
Gotta be honest, I think you know we're covered in lies and that's okay. There's somewhere beyond this, I know. but I hope I can find the words to say. Never again, no, no, never again. 'Cause you're a god and I am not, and I just thought that you would know. You're a god and I am not, and I just thought I'd let you go.